Hello and welcome everyone to episode 36 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, how's it going? Of course, I'm the English letterer for manga like Dragon Ball Super and Kaiju number 8, and yeah, just ready to talk about One Piece today.
Yeah, let's do it, because not too much else going on. This is just a set of really damn good chapters. I think that's just right out of the gate what this all is. And
the escalation.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, let's not waste any more time and just get right to it with chapter 176, Rush. And hey, good memory. Because, yeah, I completely forgot that they actually did show, I actually had no idea in the manga they did show this because it happened chronologically in the anime, I'm pretty sure. But yes, we start with a flashback to how they actually escaped.
This sequence is so good. Well just like the idea, like Sanji, he kicks the gator, it spits up this ball. They're just like, is that the key?
So that's no key. And then wax ball open, and it's like, out comes Mr. 3, and it's like, oh, I'm alive, and he's drinking up the water. It's like, I'm thinking about it, it's like, that's kind of gross. I don't know if that's fresh water or not.
Yeah.
And he's just all immediately just like, all right, I got water, I'm feeling good. He underestimated me. I got my wax stuff. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. I'm so brilliant. Wait, what's this key stuck to me? It's stuck to my ball.
I'm impressed at like the speed at which Mr. 3 assesses the situation here. Where he's just like, oh, it's the Straw Hats. What's going on here? It's like, oh, room filling with water, still cage, and a key. And then he just yeet.
Yeah, it's like, ha, get rid of this key. We don't need, you suck it. They can't do anything. I am so brilliant and cruel, and I'm totally against you guys still, even though Crocodile just tried to kill me.
Yep.
I love that Usopp continues to be the biggest thorn in Mr. 3's side.
Yeah, he's the one with all the plans.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the plan hinges on Mr. 3 being kind of an idiot, but, he's like, I love this, just the pure transition from Usopp going, maybe we can use his wax powers to make a duplicate key. Then you turn the page, and he does just that.
Yeah.
He's just like, hey, thanks.
Yeah, and he's beaten up, of course, because Sanji already proceeded to kick the crap out of him. And, of course, every time Sanji helps a Baroque's Works member, he immediately knocks him out.
Mr. 3, at this point, he just wants to be acknowledged for his efforts. He just wants to be loved. But at the same time, he had it coming.
Oh, he totally had it coming. I remember how sadistic he was, so yeah, this is deserved.
We have another great page turn after this where it's like, okay, we got to get out, and then Vivi's like, but it's crawling with banana gators, and then you turn the page and they're all done.
Exactly. It's like,
and then poor Vivi's, I couldn't even handle one.
It's okay, those two aren't normal. It's so good. I love how even Luffy's bragging. It's like, hey, I'm not as strong when I'm wet. He's just that good.
Oh, the ceiling just keeps getting higher.
Oh yeah, it does. And it's such a wonderfully comedic series of events to just get us to where the present is. And the wall breaks, the water gets flooded, all that stuff. Usopp hits his head on a rock, and we got 3 panels of everybody rescuing each other. Sanji saving Luffy, Nami and Vivi rescuing Usopp, pulling his nose.
Put him by the nose.
Again, that's the same way she pulled his nose. Pulled his nose in Drum Island where he was passed out. So that's just her go-to.
Maybe his nose is so long because it keeps getting pulled off.
I guess so. And then Zoro saving Smoker.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
And I was actually really confused by this. It's like, because it just went right to it. It's like, why did you save him, Zoro? It wasn't my decision. Why wasn't it your decision? And we of course learned that pretty quickly. But because
though that panel of Smoker like kind of jabbing out with his staff and then Zoro blocking it with a sword, it's just rad.
It's so effortless from Zoro as well.
He's just like
I mean, not like Smoker's using his full abilities or anything like that.
Of course. Yeah.
Also, I love that this thing that seemed like just a joke. It's like, hey, do you still have the perfume you bought at Nanohana? Yeah. Could you put it on like this? And he's just like, I'm falling in love and going to heaven. It's like, okay, that's an odd joke to have all of a sudden. Again, that pays off later. It's like, huh.
Yeah, there's some interesting little bits here in this batch of chapters of just weird one-off things that are like, Oda is so good at setting this stuff up.
Yeah. Sanji with the plan. Like, this is just, for somebody that's been sort of out of the story for a long time, it's just win after win after win for Sanji lately.
Yeah, he's finally getting used.
Yep. And we find out why it wasn't Zoro's choice to save Smoker. It's because Luffy asked him to. He's like, hey, just leave him. And like, no, if we don't save him, he'll die. He'll sink like an anchor. But
I love Zoro's like, I would have let you drown. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't care. And they're like, oh, of course he's going to do his duty and try to chase after us. But Usopp and Luffy wake up and he sees Smoker and he's like, hey, you still want to fight? And Smoker's just like, what is this kid?
I do like that, you can tell, like, this is sort of Smoker's way of showing appreciation, where, we got the Navy coming up behind him, and he's, just this once, I'll let you get away, he says. And it's like, you can kind of see the cracks showing with Smoker, right? Like, his sort of, he has no idea what's happening. It's like, these are pirates, but they're, like his sort of, his own belief system is kind of being pushed here, and I think that's really interesting.
It's his justice really coming through, his own sense of justice, nobody else's, because he's constantly saying how he's going against orders, and we saw that sort of branded justice to a degree with Full Buddy and Django, because they're friends, and Full Buddy did not let him get away. Granted, it allowed them to remain friends because of the way the silly circumstances having them both join the Marines, but it is one of those things where a lot of these Navy people seem to be very rigid, and Smoker seems like he would be one of them, but he defies orders to based on what he wants to do, and it makes him a much more interesting character.
It does, yeah. Definitely the most interesting of the Marines we've seen so far. I mean, I like this bit where you got one of them looks just like, Captain, you're going to after him? And he's like, I'm too tired. It's like, what?
I also like that Luffy says, I kind of like you. And Smoker's like, get out of here.
He's a tsundere. Can't be open to his true feelings.
And then he's having every ship in the region set sail for Alabasta. And it's like, wait, what do the brass think if you're just going to try to catch a few lousy pirates? I don't care what the brass thinks.
Yeah, he's clearly on his own agenda at this point.
It's pretty great stuff. And then the perfume coming in, it's like, this way, the smell of Nami's perfume is getting stronger, and it's Chopper's way of figuring out where they were. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant. It's just a little thing. And then just sort of the reveal then that Chopper has sort of brought in the cavalry.
This giant smirking crab.
That is a horrifying image.
Yeah, it is. That smile is just really freaky at all times. I don't know why that is, but it's really disturbing.
Nami points this out, but there's no answer for it.
Yeah. Most people are freaking out. Vivi's all happy because it's a crab mover, and Luffy's like, oh, it's food. I want to eat this.
Oh, no.
But yeah, apparently this is a friend of Eyelash's. This is Eyelash's hometown, so he has all kinds of friends around here, but they're strange.
Yeah, they're very strange.
So it's a nice, fast way to try to get to Alubarna. So it's like, all right, we've made our escape. We're all together. We have this fast way of moving. Let's go. And that one thing there, it's just, you don't even notice as they're doing the giddy up almost at first. But the hook coming out and grabbing Vivi.
What a, like, just so masterfully, like coming out from, like, the dust that the crab is creating is just like, oh, God, what? Oh, no, not again.
And Luffy, quick thinking, grabbing Vivi, tossing her to the rest, hanging on to the hook, and just saying, go on without me. And that's how the chapter ends.
And that stare from Crocodile there at the bottom is just, oh, boy.
Uh-huh. He is done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I like this next page turn where we have, it's just like a breakdown of all the things we've been up to since we've gotten to Alabasta.
I really want to point out, God, the first time I read/watched Alabasta, I like, for some reason the layout of everything in the map just kind of like washed over me, but like maybe because later arcs have so many kind of like complicated, like the spaces they take place in are so much more complicated that I look at Alabasta like, oh, this is incredibly straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't follow it before.
The crazy thing to me is that this is still only a small section of Alabasta.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're dealing with like this little chunk.
Also, nice thing to point that I didn't notice the first time I was looking at this map, but they have the Jugong on next to Arimalu.
They're very important.
Yeah, very important. I don't know. It's just fun to see where we've been. It kind of reminds me of like RPG stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like world map and like this is where we've gone and this is what we've done, all that good stuff.
I feel like the big One Piece arcs are very much like that.
Yeah. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to chapter 177, 30 million versus 81 million. And what a great
chapter title.
That's such a good idea to have it.
Yeah, it's like,
structured like
that puts it into perspective.
Oh yeah. I don't know about you, but I've noticed that Usopp gets the biggest drip when it comes to these title pages, and anytime he gets to dress in other clothes, he gets to be the most stylish, I swear.
Why is he just like, he's got like a piece of meat hanging out of his mouth? Or I guess he's hanging with the dog doing the same.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think the contrast is what makes it funny.
Yeah, it's quite good. These chapter titles are just fun to look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, into the chapter itself, Luffy's still getting pulled towards Crocodile and just says, take care of her. Make sure she gets to Alubarna. And he's just laughing as she's all afraid. And Zoro's confident in him, is like, all right, let's go. Let's keep going.
Go get him. Yeah, I'm a big sucker for these kind of like, leave him to me. I got this.
Yeah.
Taking one for the team.
And Nami's confident as well. It's like, hey, he's going against some pretty tough customers and he's the one standing, so don't worry about it. And it's like, hey, the rebels are getting there. We have to get there or Alabasta is finished. So you're the only hope. This is his job. This is what he wants to do. This is our job, getting you to Alubarna. And even Sanji says, you're not fighting alone anymore. And that's gives her the confidence to just say, yeah, hey, I'll be waiting for you.
Yeah, even poor Usopp's in on it. You know, he's got the shakes, but he's, you know, I'm with you.
It's another good sign of the friendship going on.
Yeah.
What a way for Crocodile and Luffy to properly meet outside of a cage. Luffy
ass
on his
up.
back, ass up. Yeah. It's time for the big showdown. Crocodile versus Luffy.
Man, that again, like all the close-ups on Crocodile, I feel like Oda just has to make him look as intimidating as possible.
And just, again, done with everything. Like you can tell he just feels like he's wasted more time on this than he needs to.
Absolutely.
Luffy taking off the little cover for his hat and just like talking about how Vivi is always trying to help others, feeling compassion and doesn't want to get a single person killed. And even Crocodile's like, no casualties. That doesn't make any sense. It's easy for someone who's never been in a battle. And Luffy agrees with him.
Yeah, I kind of like this sort of the Venn diagram where their views kind of align a little bit.
Yeah, there's some commonality here because they're both pirates.
Yeah, so they get it.
But she's Luffy's friend, and as long as he's around, she's gonna kill herself trying to stop you. So I don't want to lose my friend, so I'm gonna stop you here. Again, the way Luffy can get under Crocodile's skin is like,
it's so good.
I've deserted dozens of fools like you. In that case, you're the fool. And,
and then all Sundays she laughs a little bit like, got him.
Yeah, exactly. She's enjoying this. You can tell she kind of has a soft spot for Luffy, I think.
Yeah.
And then we get this thing that I completely forgot about this.
Yeah.
You want to die to Nico Robin?
Oh, got a name drop.
Yeah, get her actual name, not just all Sunday.
Well, and I love that she's like, you promised not to call me by that name. And then, you know, she just kind of pieces out. And Crocodile's like, even she's a mystery to me.
I like that she's cool with him doing a death threat.
Yeah.
But don't call me by the name.
These two, their relationship is so fascinating. Like they seem to, like they're working together, but are just, it has such a, I don't know, like a familiar yet entirely passive, like,
yeah,
the way that these two interact.
It's almost like an ally of convenience.
Yeah, exactly.
So just because they don't understand it, it's like, that woman's a mystery to me. That's a big thing from Crocodile, where he doesn't quite get it, but she's useful. But then he puts down this sand dial. It's like, all right, you get 3 minutes. And Luffy's like, all right, fine, cool with me.
All right.
And then we get this fight, this really cool choreographed fight. It's been a while since we've seen a fight like this from Luffy.
Yeah, exactly.
Starting off the Gum pistol that Crocodile dodges, goes in for that hook. Luffy dodging as well.
I do love the on the previous page where he uses the Gum pistol. I love at the bottom where it's like you see the transition of Crocodile like turning into sand. And basically just like transporting himself right in front of Luffy. It
shows the threat level from him. He's a Sandman. He is a promise, and that becomes all too obvious as he puts down the stamp, goes through his body, and just sends Luffy tumbling because there's nothing there.
Yeah, you just can't hit him.
And the great thing about this is that Luffy is not hitting him. He's doing no damage to Crocodile, but he's annoying the hell out of him because he keeps interrupting him. He's just trying to taunt him, and then he'll just Gatling gun, and nothing happens. It's like, hey, you can never, and then bazooka.
Yeah, he just don't care.
Even pulls out the battle axe and stomps him into the ground, and he just keeps stomping.
Been the finisher. Yeah, and bazooka too. Yeah, it's just like all of Luffy's best attacks, and it's just like...
And nothing's really affecting him. All it's doing is upsetting him, because as soon as he starts talking, he just tries to punch him. And that's enough to just set him off.
I was like, what was that? You trying to say something?
Yeah.
Luffy might not be able to do physical damage, but he's doing a lot of emotional damage to Crocodile right now. It's just can't let him talk smack.
No, there's no smack talking here, but it is a massive point that Luffy is doing his biggest attacks that we've seen up until this point. Nothing. And that's a different feeling. That is the end of the chapter. Like it's weird because it's like a good fight, but it also just seems like nothing quite happened. But yeah, we got our SBS. Nothing too crazy here, except that we did get a question about if they were all animals, what would they be? So Luffy is a monkey, Zoro's a shark, Usopp's an armadillo, Nami's a cat, and Sanji's a duck.
Sure.
But the one he's most confident about is Chopper.
Whoa,
he's so good. I know Luffy and Nami are definitely right, but I think I saw somewhere he took inspiration from others. For the others from a little different. I don't know. I can't remember, but I do remember he did actually say what their designs were kind of inspired by. This might be right. I don't know, but it's hard to tell sometimes when he seems a little not so serious.
That's the funny thing about the SBS sometimes is like there are very insightful and interesting things that are, end up being canon, but like there's also things that are just like, is he serious?
Yeah, it's an odd one. Either way, let's see how this fight goes. Go into chapter 178, Grand Line Level. And this is another really cute cover story right off the bat. Like I like the outfit for Vivi. It's cute posing. The eel with the rose. I'm sorry, that thing's dapper as all get out.
Yeah, he's got a little bow tie. He's shooting his shot. I appreciate that.
You got to go for it sometimes. And even that Dosakoi from the East Blue making its appearance again. I don't know why that always pops out to me, but there it is.
Yeah, hey, it's the biggest branding in the East Blue apparently.
Yeah, gotta be trendy. Back into the fight. It's time to see more of Crocodile's moveset, I think.
Yeah, he shoots out he's got the Desert Spada, which is it's sort of like a straight line of it's like a blade, basically. Yeah, you see it like cut a rock in half.
Yeah, and Luffy has that good battle sense where he sees that rocket cutting in half and knows immediately, like, oh crap, I got to get out of the way.
Yep.
And just, oh man, seeing the desert split in two like that really shows off the power.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy.
This is an interesting speech for the future, where Crocodile says, I've worked hard to develop my devil fruit powers. I can use them to make any weapon I want, unlike some fools who are satisfied with their powers as they are. I continually condition myself and improve my skills. And I'll make you regret you ever tangle with me. It's like, that is interesting. It indicates that the powers can be made better. You can tap deeper into them than what's apparent on surface level.
That is a speech that only gets more true with time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't think we'll see that for a while, but it is sort of an interesting, like, oh, okay, he is sort of like taken the concept that he is sand and is sort of getting smarter with them.
What can sand do? Can I do this? And kind of go from there. And yeah, as you said, it'll be a while until we really see this in its full effect, but this is a really good first indication of it. And an impressive display where he uses Desert Girasol, I think it is, and just creates a massive quicksand pile.
Yeah, that perspective, like that thing is huge. Like Luffy and Crocodile are just tiny little specks. You can see where he like cut it in half. It's wow. Yeah, the scale of it is really huge.
Yeah, definitely a great power scale, and really does show us like, oh, I'm in a desert kingdom and I'm a sand man. This is not so good.
Yeah, it's like no one has the chance against them in the desert in a desert battle.
And Luffy trying to think of his ideas more and more, using again those smarts, Gum Bazooka to launch himself out of the sand. And it's like, all right, well, I'll try to snare you instead with the finger net. and all it does is get swiped aside.
Yeah, and then he tries to go in with the Gum Gum Whip too, and it's just nothing.
Yeah, I love how they can get into this body horror.
Yeah, it's splitting in half.
Yeah, it's just not enough.
It's Sand. He's okay.
And this is a cool move. The Crescent Cutlass. These are some awesome names, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, these are all great.
I wonder if people got freaked out when people were like, my arm, and you're like, oh god, did he lose his arm? And then you see it, it's like completely mummified.
Which is what we saw him do to Mr. 3 earlier.
Yeah, seeing it in its effect, it's like, jeez.
Yeah, I think that was before the formal reveal that he had the sand fruit. But I mean, it makes sense now. Where he says it straight up, like he can use sand to absorb the moisture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just shrivel it all up, and that's we've seen it demonstrated time and time again. That's how we got indicated that this was his power. But Luffy, having to make this ridiculous, goes and gets his water. I love how muscly it is when he gets it filled back up.
He drinks and his arm gets buff. I love Crocodile's like, ridiculous. And Luffy says, no, it's not.
Yeah. It's like, that dried up old man in Yuba worked all night to get it. The old man told me, Yuba won't lose to the sand. And God, he took inspiration from Wapple with the gum munch. Eats the top half of Crocodile. And Crocodile.
He gave it his best shot.
Yeah. Burst out of it. You get the sense that Crocodile's never been so disrespected like this. That somebody attempted to do this to him. Oh, God. And it's like, all right, I gave you 3 minutes. I'm done. Yuba's done. Stop wasting my time. And just uses sables. Whips up a sandstorm right outside of Rain Base.
Yeah, and I love, not only do we see it and that it's huge, but like we see in the next couple pages, like you see it from the perspective of people pretty far away.
Oh yeah, they're like within Rain Base, and even them like rushing off, and this crab is not going slow.
Yeah,
obviously it's Crocodile. And like, hey, the winds always blow from north to south, so if this sandstorm would head south, going strong as it went, what would lie in that path? And yep, he's striking at Yuba to just completely throw off Luffy. Hints of Mr. 3, just that like, hey, this guy has nothing to do with it, but hey, you have a connection. You got that water from him. Screw Yuba. Yep. I'm taking it out.
Oh yeah. In hindsight, I wasn't really sure like what they were doing with the placement of Old Man Toto. It's sort of genius in that it both sets up like the characterization of Koza and sort of his relationship with, everything's kind of interconnected here.
Yeah, it's amazing how much of a deal Toto is, how much he connects to Koza, to Yuba, that connection to with Luffy and the people, because Luffy hasn't met many citizens of this. These are just random people, but he has that connection with the old man that gives him, that is just enough to make him want to protect that. And we've seen it with him time and again, where he just needs to meet that one person, and like, all right, this is their treasure. This is what they have, their ideal. I need to protect it.
Exactly.
And he's desperate. He hasn't been able to do any damage to Crocodile at all throughout this. Mm-hmm. And he just goes up to it and starts shaking him. It's like, just stop it right now. And God, these panels, the eyes on Luffy, the sandstorm in the background, and then seeing the hook.
He gets Sephiroth by like Mario in that trailer.
Oh yeah.
Except it actually cut through.
It is gruesome. This is something we've never seen before. And I remember the first time I encountered this, I was losing my mind because it was the first time that Luffy
lost.
Yeah. Luffy has never lost in this up to this point. 178 chapters, and Luffy has never lost to this point. Never even seemed like, the closest he seemed to losing was Arlong.
Yeah. That was probably the most tense.
Yeah.
But this is just a straight up, like, he is a straight up L.
Yeah, even then he was kind of joking around with him with the teeth and all that stuff, and like once he really got serious, but Arlong couldn't really stand up to him.
Yeah,
but this did everything. All those abilities we've seen up to this point, and they did nothing.
Yeah. I think it's really effective seeing all of like Luffy just busting out the full kit, and he just can't do anything against him.
Yeah, it just shows that power gap, and. Mm-hmm. Again, those words from Crocodile, it's like, you're just a 2-bit greenhorn, and Upstart's like, you are a dime a dozen in the Grand Line. And that's...
Yeah. That hits.
That hits. That's how it ends. It's like I love it. I love it. I love what they've done here. It's just
it's really. I mean, I always thought it was a great scene, but like going back through it in context, like the fight is really good. Seeing the sort of dread you see, like, oh yeah, not often is it just like that. I don't know, that level of like a beatdown of just like you were not even close.
It's something we just haven't seen from Luffy before, and to see this gap that Luffy can't overcome really does raise the stakes. Especially because while the fight is good, it's also completely ineffective. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Luffy accomplishes nothing in that, other than, I guess, getting a look at Crocodile's powers. But man, what a way to end it. Like, obviously, as a One Piece fan, you know Luffy is not dead. Mm-hmm. But just to see him get that damaged is so striking. Whew. Let's go ahead and move on to chapter 179, Showdown at Alubarna. And Karu gets his own cover page. That's good. That's fun.
Yeah. He's riding on a falcon. Is that supposed to be Pell?
I mean, maybe it's a Pell allegory, but either way, it's like, cool. What a great way to start this chapter as well, where you can just see the tension on everybody, where we have these strange lies from Zoro, these strange stories, not Zoro, from Usopp, explaining why crabs walk sideways, and Zoro's using his sword to do lifts with eyelashes. Yeah. And Nami's just like, you're wasting your strength, and he just screams out, shut up. And it's like, and Sanji, the calm one, kinda. It's like they have to do something, ignore him, they have to do something to ease the tension.
I like that Sanji's still wearing the glasses. It's a good look on him.
Yeah, the glasses do work. Man, it's the tensions are definitely up because Sanji and Zoro, of course, fighting again. It's like, hey, I'll say it, you're scared, Zoro. You think Luffy might lose. And they calls him pretty brow boy.
Yeah. But of course, they might be the strongest on the crew, but they're still weaker than Nami, who gives them a good... Well, I love that, like, they both get punched, but, like, Sanji's is, like, his is in the shape of a heart, his little bruise.
Yeah, it's a really good detail. I love how Chopper's just like, oh, God. She's so scary. And Usopp's like, all right, a second command, I got to do something. Then Vivi immediately steps up. It's like, don't worry. Luffy's not going to lose. We made a promise. We're going to meet in Alubarna. Of course, Nami's just like, hey, you just worry about the rebellion. Punches her in the head as well.
I think Nami might actually be the strongest on the crew.
I think she might be. Like, when it really comes down to it. It's just like, hey, let's switch our thoughts to Alubarna. Let's go Pincers. Like, that's the crab's name. Like, did you just name him? And then to even make it worse, as we see...
Just one last little punch in the gut.
Yeah, it's like, here's Toto. I found this nice big thing of water.
Yeah.
It's filling the hole. It's like,
and then you see the sandstorm coming.
And then just that Yuba is still alive, and then just immediately switch to Yuba will die.
Yep.
Then the rebels will be even more enraged, and their misguided compassion will rip this kingdom apart. Same goes for you, Straw Hat. You see then that his hook actually also pierced the water bottom of Yuba, which is also kind of symbolic. And he's like,
it is. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but it is very symbolic.
You'll no longer feel any gratitude for this. And he can't even finish because as the water drips down his arm, Luffy sort of grabs him. Yeah. And it's hard to interpret what's going on here, whether Luffy's like the fact that he's showing any life at all, or the fact that Luffy has a strong grip, because it seems to me like Crocodile's legs are buckling.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, like he's kind of struggling to kind of get him off.
Yeah, it's like something's strange to him. Yeah. Something's definitely off here. I've seen this part, but for any newcomers, this is obviously important.
Yes.
How it's important, we'll see. Yeah. But just keep it in mind. But that's enough that it's like, oh crap, you're still alive, and he just tosses him into the quicksand. Rip. Oh God, just the way Luffy's like
like his arm
pupils
reaching
are
out.
Gone. Yeah, he's coughing up blood. It's like, jeez, that is. Yeah, it just looks so painful.
Yeah, what a way to just like completely convey this loss. Just like Luffy in the quicksand, his arms reaching out. You can. You know, Crocodile's way above him. That also feels like some symbolism almost. Like he's reaching out and can't quite reach to that level.
And just saying what a waste of time. It's like, man, just getting those villain vibes in there. And then we go back to the Navy with Smoker and Tashigi, where Smoker is ordering Tashigi to go to Alubarna. And she's like, well, do I go after the Straw Hats or do you want me to assist the royal army? It's like, it's up to you. It's like, wait, what? It's like, no, you decide what you want to do there. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, just follow your own sense of justice. I'll take full responsibility.
I mean, it's funny considering, like the Navy is, they're all about like order and stuff. So of course Tashigi is just like, I mean, you're like you're in charge of me. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean follow my sense of justice?
It's really interesting in that way. Seeing the relationship evolve just as time goes on. It's like see kind of how Smoker treats her.
The Straw Hats changed him. He doesn't want to admit it.
He's heading out to sea for something. We don't know exactly what. We do know he called for backup as well, but we don't know. All we know is that he tells her to pay close attention to what becomes of the country, whether it should it fall or survive. He's like, well, whenever events like these occur, history is about to be made. And just leaves her kind of questioning. So she's like, well, what do we do? Well, we're here for the Straw Hats. Let's go get the Straw Hats. Let's arm themselves to the teeth and we're going to Alubarna.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yep, exactly. Because she doesn't know what else is going on. She wasn't there, so she does not know about Crocodile's plan or anything like that. Smoker's kind of kept that to himself. And then we see just everybody converging. The rebel forces led by Koza approach Alubarna, and then Chaka's preparing. Apparently the enemy is over 2 million. 2 million
Jesus
rebels.
Christ.
Like, my God.
It's got to be... a lot of that's got to be Baroque works, right?
I mean, a chunk of it has to be, but I don't know.
Yeah, but seriously, like you really feel the tension. Just like these are two giant armies about to clash.
Yeah, and I love with Chaka. They talk to the soldiers that they're convinced, like, we've been around the king long enough. How can anybody believe this is bad about him? Because we've been around the king, and they're right.
Right. I love that they keep the faith.
Yeah, it's like something bad has befallen him, but we have to win. We can't let this kingdom fall. And it's just another misguided idea. It's like, well, we can't, because he was told to abandon, but he did not. He's like, well, no, I'm sticking to my guns since I don't have the authority to attack Crocodile. So let's just defend and maintain, and we'll pick up the pieces after that.
Smart.
But he is having the civilians evacuate, so that's good.
Yeah.
There's nobody going around. And then we finally see the part, obviously Mr. Four and Miss Merry Christmas were the ones that kidnapped Cobra. And man, it is something else to see him just bound and gagged, and all they have to do is babysit.
There's this interesting line from Merry Christmas where she says that sneaking past the palace guards and kidnapping him was only something we could do. I don't actually know if that, like, I don't even remember what their powers are, if they have them. So it's like, I'm wondering what that's about.
I remember Miss Merry Christmas's power, but I don't remember what Mr. Four is capable of offhand, like fully. But it's hard. It was hard for me to forget Miss Merry Christmas's power because we'll see.
Yeah, I legitimately don't remember.
You just get this prayer from Cobra. It's like, Chaka, Koza, don't fight. Do not destroy each other. You're also this country. And just these panels. I love this build-up is so good. The stakes are drawn. Luffy is out. Those who lament war. Those who fight. Those who incite war. And those who, knowing the truth, want to stop it. Their hopes are about to collide in Alubarna. And to just see that map again where everybody's coming in, these 5 sides, the Royal Army, the Rebels, the Baroque Works, Straw Hats, and the Navy all converging. I love crap like this.
Yeah, this is such a big war. Like such a just head and shoulders above anything we've seen in the story up to this point. And Oda has just set this up so brilliantly.
It's fantastic, and what another great way to end it is just, it's silent. We see a little pop from the quicksand, more silence. You see Luffy's face sticking out above, and all he does is scream out meat.
What a great way to end that chapter.
It's like, yeah, of course he's alive. Of course he's alive.
Of course.
We do have an SBS. Nothing too crazy. We have Tashigi's age and height. She's 21 and 5'7".
Well, she's on the tall side.
Yeah, at the tall side at 5'7".
Japan.
Yes.
Japan.
And also a little bit of a question about Ace's flame fruit, where can he turn his body into flames or can he shoot flames out of his body? Which is it? The answer is mainly one. He can turn his body into flames, but his most deadly move, the Fire Fist, makes his fiery knuckles expand by increasing the temperature, so it's also like 2. So it's mostly 1, a little bit of 2.
Yeah, I feel like that's sort of the basis, for folks with devil fruits like aces.
And you can imagine him kind of training up that power, kind of like Crocodile.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just like, oh, I'm fire. It's like, what can I do now that I'm fire?
Yeah. How can I use this? Well, let's go ahead and get to it. Chapter 180, Alabasta Animal Land. And I love that everybody's lined up with gold in this little thing. They're all gold diggers, and Nami's just happy as can be.
What a life.
These animal cover arts
they're just great.
A lot of fun.
They're also
just
cozy.
One straw hat with one animal. I don't know. It's just fun.
It's a good format.
Yeah, definitely is. But yeah, into the chapter itself. We're back with Luffy, head sticking out of the sand, and all he can think of is just being absolutely kind of pissed about the things that Crocodile said, like, I outclass you as a pirate, you will die.
He's just built different.
Mm-hmm. And he's trying to get out, trying to work his way out, and all of a sudden we see a figure and then a bunch of hands reaching out of the sand and lifting him up. Luffy even says thank you to Miss All Sunday.
Yeah. Then we got this very, oh boy.
Going back into that lore, why do you fight as one of those whose name is D?
Luffy's got no idea what she's talking about.
And I'm guessing it has to be All Sunday saying this. It's just, who are you people? She's so deadly serious for the first time we've really seen her. She's been mostly aloof, but here she seems incredibly serious. She just says it's a waste of time to ask, gets the straw hat, leaves it at that. But then all of a sudden, hey, Pell's back.
He sort of healed from him having his neck snapped. But all right.
I mean, his back broken, all that stuff. It's like, hey, now that I know what your powers are,
he got better.
Different. And all she says is, hey, you're hurt worse than you think, but hey, help that kid. He is the one that brought your hit princess home. And I love this Acceligator. These animals are so good.
We get so many of them in this chapter. It's so great.
Well,
I love the note. It's the second fastest animal in Alabasta. She's got like a little comfy seat on it. Like she is riding.
That's
in
like the
high style
Cadillac.
Yeah.
Again, this is very interesting for her. She saved Luffy. She's almost seems to be working maybe against Crocodile, even though she's kind of going with him.
Yeah, you can tell she has her own priorities, and she's just kind of along for the ride with Crocodile.
Something else is going on because she's been helping in her own ways. Doesn't seem bloodthirsty at all. Saved Luffy, even though Luffy saved himself. I don't think she would have recovered the body if she didn't see his head popping out there. Luffy got to that point on his own, which is still, for having a giant hole in his chest, is really freaking impressive.
Yeah, I sort of like the idea here that Pell has no idea who Luffy is at this point, and he's thinking if I'm no match for her, who can protect Vivi? And he's just like Luffy tugs on him, and it's just like meat. Here's
the guy that can maybe protect her, but he's just so determined, and it's great. And again, showing that All Sunday doesn't seem to be what she's all about.
Yeah, speaking of people saved by All Sunday.
Yeah. Igaram, back in Alabasta.
How did he get here?
I don't know.
He exploded.
I saw their ship. Princess Vivi and those pirates must have made it here safely. I must hurry. Please let me be in time. It's like, he's alive. And it just goes to show, Mr. 3 survived when he seemed to be dead. The giant survived when they seemed to dead. Igaram seemed to survive when he dead. Nobody dies unless it's in flashback.
Yeah, everybody's fine. Everybody's just Luffy got a hole punched in him.
This arc is what really pushed in my head. Is like, okay, nobody ever dies in One Piece unless it's in a flashback. And in that sense, it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. It's sort of, people can have that debate if they want. I don't really care one way or the other, but it almost makes sense in a weird cartoon kind of way. Of just when you think of something like Looney Tunes. And then the kinds of damage that characters can take, and they're just like, they'll just walk it off.
They're dead dead in quotes, just long enough to make it have an impact.
Yeah, exactly.
You get that returning hope, but man, we're getting this basically a countdown throughout this entire chapter. It's like 5 hours until the rebel forces reach Alubarna, and Toto facing down that giant sandstorm.
What a beautiful image.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh man.
Just that him with the shovel looking at that raging storm and just talking about it. It's like, do your worst. You'll never defeat Yuba. And you see it just getting wrecked with him in the middle.
Man.
4 hours to go. They've reached the Sandora River, but they hate water. They can't cross the water. So we need to find some other way across. Even then, we have miles and miles of desert to cross. So if this crab can't cross the river, what are we going to do once we get to the other side?
I weirdly like this gag more than I probably should.
Yeah,
the solution, well, just sort of the setup. We have Chopper here, like, pincers like dancing girls. And so what Nami does, and you're like, oh, okay, here comes the fan service. And she just kind of like,
stands there,
and it works. And then you flip the page, and they're just like, wow, it works. And then the crab's running on water, and then he just starts to slowly sink.
He just blub blub blub. It is a really funny payoff and set up and payoff. Although I don't know how her dancing outfit got front and center again, because she's been covered up for a long time.
Yeah.
I guess she did just lower it because she says, "Will this do?" I, honest to God, because I didn't look ahead that far, I was like, "Oh my God, he is running across the water. That's amazing to have that go on."
Just for a little bit.
Yeah, but it didn't quite work, and so it's like, well, we got to swim, and it's like 30 miles to swim. That's how far across the Sandora River is, until a Sandoran catfish shows up. It's really rare to see.
His favorite food is man.
They all start to swim. I love how she always talks about how rare these animals are, that they keep attacking them.
Yes, and it's just like...
And then all of a sudden...
Vivi is a bad tour guide.
Yeah, she is. And then all of a sudden it gets knocked out, and it's like, the Kung Fu Jugons are back.
Yes.
Luffy's rare teaching to these guys out of nowhere, just off panel. They're back. And ready to help.
I mean, it was like one panel, like 15 chapters ago, and I love that it just comes back in the most random way like this.
Yeah, and they take out the catfish. They basically kill it, I think. Yeah. And then they're like guiding each other with the flags and pulling it by its whiskers to just ferry them across. It's amazing. I love these guys. The Jugons are great. They need to be a Pokemon so I can catch them.
Exactly. The pacing in this section with all of the animals is so just breakneck bonkers.
I know. And it's like just a sense of time, because there's like 30 minutes passed from Rain Base, 3 hours across the desert with the crab, 1 hour to cross the river with the Jugons, and now they still have to cross all this desert again to get to Alubarna. I don't even know if the eyelashes can get us there in time, because we only have 3 hours and only 2 of us can ride on eyelashes. Plus we could still get ambushed by Baroque Works. Isn't there any way to get there? And then all of a sudden they see something in the distance. Karu in the Supersonic Duck Squadron. And I'll be honest, when Karu left, I'm like, wait a second, because I could have swore they showed up earlier. It's like, was that awesome Duck Squadron just filler? And then they come back here with these amazing designs.
They're so good.
There is some badass designs.
Like, I don't think they really get used that much.
No, I don't think so.
They all have, like, Oda could have just made these all look like Karu, but they all have unique designs and they're all awesome.
I think my favorite has to be the one on the far left that kind of looks like Mihawk.
Yeah, me too. That was like it's wearing glasses but has glasses on his hat.
I know. It's too good. It's too good.
Also, like Karu's got the water, but the one to the left of him, it looks like he's got like booze.
It does seem like it. It seems like it says BBR, so I wonder if like at first I give us barbecue sauce, but then it's like, nah, it's probably just liquor. I love those things so much.
Yeah, what a great surprise.
Mm-hmm. And now, 1 hour's left, and I can't imagine. Miss Merry Christmas's patience must be completely frayed at this point, babysitting a tied-up man for, 5 hours?
Oh my god.
Bunshi finally arrives, and there's the situation. They have to set up an ambush, because the enemy is a band of pirates who have already eliminated 6 of their top agents.
You know, when they word it like that, it kind of makes them sound like a threat.
Yeah, it really does. So they're all pumping themselves up. It's like Mr. Two's like, well, when it comes to deception, I'm second to none. And Doublefinger's like, well, Mr. One and I can get rid of them all once and for all. Of course, Merry Christmas and Mr. Four is like, hey, we're the ones for this job. We'll go first. So they're all itching for this fight, ready to take them on.
Oh, yeah.
And all their ideas is the big thing that the big job they have remaining is they need to kill the Vivi.
Yep.
And
That's where the chapter ends.
That's it. It's like
we got our setup, boys. We are
here. We are set. It is time for probably nonstop action. It's just gonna be fight after fight, and it's gonna be something else to see.
What an amazing set of chapters we had this week.
Oh man,
good Lord, I was just on the edge of my seat the entire time.
Seeing that fight with Luffy again, I cannot overstate how much it blew my mind to see Luffy lose, because I'd never seen a win streak like this in anything before.
Yeah, and I feel like it's at least for me at the time, like reading kind of similar kind of Shonen Jump manga, it's like, yeah, the protagonist can lose, but sort of like losing at this incredibly crucial moment and like kind of being left for dead while the friends have to kind of like take care of things for a while. I don't know. It just makes for a super interesting setup.
Yeah, it sort of ties into the whole common idea of the main character needing to take on the main villain and not being around in order to do that. But the reason he's not around is because he lost round 1.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you see it in something like Dragon Ball where, they have, like, the common trope, like, oh, everyone's just waiting for Goku to show up to save the day. But, like, it would be like if, like, Goku had already showed up and lost.
Yeah. And we've seen that a few times with Goku. But, again, I feel like Goku in Dragon Ball lost a bit more often than...
Yeah.
Really nothing too crazy, other than the fact that they named it Baroque Works because... The Baroque style, to his opinion, was unnecessarily ostentatious and excessively ornamental. So that's why they're so flamboyant.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I also love this. Hey, you're a girl. Why are you reading Shonen Jump? It's like, why shouldn't a girl read Shonen Jump? And he's just like, hey, 30% of the readership of Shonen Jump is girls. So
I imagine that ratio is probably higher now. This would have been like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. It's probably only increased. But even then, so think we're having about 1.2 million comrades, according to my rough calculations, throughout Japan. And hey, as long as they understand the boys' fiery spirit, boys, girls, old guys, and old ladies are all welcome.
Good.
And hell yeah.
Everybody should read One Piece. Everybody should read Shonen Jump.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you said, fantastic group of chapters. We're in for the action at this point. I am so excited to see.
We're kind of almost done in a weird way.
Yeah, it's really, we're at that point now that was at Arlong, where they arrived at Arlong Park. It's now time for the fights, to see who gets paired up with who, because it's not really obvious this time who's going to get paired up with who in this one. And to just see how it all breaks down, especially Vivi has to stop the rebels. The crew has to defeat the rest of the Baroque Works agents. Luffy has to get back to Alubarna and stop Crocodile somehow. It feels like there's not much left in the grand scheme when you look at it in a macro sense, but all these little pieces have to be moved, and there's quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yes.
So with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 176 to 180 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I'm at Brandon Bovia on Twitter, talking about anime, manga, games, and my job. Nothing in particular to talk about, I think. Just business as usual for me. Read One Piece.
Exactly, as you all should. And if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER to listen to the next episode 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 181 to 185 of One Piece. Until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
That sandstorm is going to pick up strength. And eventually it will become strong enough that even I can't stop it.
I don't believe you, liar!
Yuba is finished.
If you don't end this now, I will!
Did you really think you were my equal? There have been any number of rookies like you who've challenged me, and you've all shared a common trait, fatal ineptitude. And in the end, the only thing you are truly qualified for is death.